Well, it all comes down to this. If TSM are going to continue their time in the LCS, they're going to have to take down Dignitas. So let's talk some TSM. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking TSM. Sadly, this is potentially our last ever game preview for TSM in the LCS, which is uh, pretty disappointing. But we'll have to see what my prediction is and see if we'll be getting another episode next week. I'm very hopeful that we will. Quick recap. We did end up losing 3-2 to Evil Geniuses. I thought we played extremely well. I think we had a pretty good chance of taking the series, honestly. I think we really pushed them to the brink. And I know I'm not the only one. I think they're the third best team right now in the LCS. So there's an argument to be made that maybe we are the fourth best team right now in the LCS. I don't know. Transitive properties and all that jazz. But it was a great series for our boys, and I think one that we can be proud of heading into this one. So I have a sadder question for you, but is this it? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you think that this is going to be the end for TSM's time in the LCS? A disappointing loss to Dignitas. I'm not going to spoil my prediction yet for the series. You'll have to wait till the very end for that. But you guys can let me know in the comment section below what you think, and I'll make sure to give you a response. As a quick reminder, although I am talking sad doom and gloom, regardless, there will be at least one more episode, potentially two, of Talking TSM once the season is over. Maybe even three. It'll really just depend. I'll let you guys know more once the time is actually passed and everything. You can actually probably see behind me almost all of my stuff is gone because I am actually moving this week. So I'm glad TSM are playing on Thursday before I move, so I don't have to worry about moving all my stuff and trying to watch the game and everything. I can just enjoy it tonight before I head to my next place. So with that, let's jump on in here. So Dignitas. Listen, they fell off really hard. They were a fun story at the beginning of the split. Things got a little rough for them. I wouldn't even just say a little rough. They got pretty rough for them. We were able to take them down in the last time we played them. They are, at least I'm pretty sure. You know what? I'm saying that, and right now I am questioning whether or not that's true. I'm going to check. I apologize. Generally, I don't like to do this in the middle of the show, but right now, my brain is like, wait, maybe you're wrong, idiot. Maybe they did lose to them the last time we played them. Let's see. No, we did beat them in week 5. Okay, I thought so. I just wanted to make sure. Regardless, Dignitas were losing pretty much every game for a while there, and I think that this team has some strengths, but in my opinion, they are very clearly the 7 seed. I don't know if I'd put 100 Thieves. I would normally put 100 Thieves over them, but 100 Thieves haven't played well. So I think talent-wise, 100 Thieves are better, and that would make Dignitas the worst team in the LCS this split. But that's neither here nor there. We have to go into my players to watch. The first one is going to be Rich. There are people saying that he should have gotten MVP votes. Listen, I think he had a really good split. I think he was arguably the most surprising player. I almost put him near the bottom, if not probably one of my worst 5 players coming into the split for the LCS, and that's mostly because I didn't know his game, right? And I also don't think that he played particularly well in any of the other leagues that he had played in. And coming from Dota and everything, it's like, how much is that skill going to cross over? And it's I think he's performed pretty well. Or not Dota, sorry, it was is it Heroes of the Storm? Yeah, I think it's Heroes of the Storm. Apologies, not Dota. Regardless, I didn't know how much that would cross over, right? And I think he's been a really, really solid player for them. I think he's been somebody who, especially when expectations were really low for him, teams weren't paying attention. They also were not respecting his game, and I think he was getting the jump on them with, especially his Cassante play. It was really, really freaking good. And I think he's a big playmaker for Dignitas. And I really do believe that it's going to be somebody who we have to mark, who we have to make sure that we have an eye on at all times, because he's going to be just consistently looking to make plays in the mid to late game after most likely getting ahead in the early game. I'll talk a little bit more about Hanser later on, but I do think that, if we're looking to win, right, which obviously we are, Rich is a guy that we're going to need to shut down. The next person I'm going to be looking at is Jensen. And there's just something about this guy when it comes to playoffs that he makes really big plays a lot of the time. I'm never overly impressed with him during the regular season. His regular season stats are pretty even. I wrote a couple years ago, back when PoE was on the team, I wrote a piece comparing, Jensen, PoE, and I cannot remember who the other mid laner was at the time. It wasn't Bjergsen, but it was somebody else. And, like his stats were basically the same as Power of Evil's, but you wouldn't say that Power of Evil was like amazing, right? Like he was really good for a couple years there, but like he wasn't, going to Worlds every year like Jensen has done. I think he is the X factor for this team because he's been here. He's done this. Him and Santorin, they know what it takes to get to the next stage and to continue just pushing on. Like, if I had a dark horse team of the bottom 5 teams that was just going to surprise everybody and make it to Newark, I actually might pick Dignitas just because of how much experience they have in best of 5s. And we all know that, some teams just suck in best of 1s, but figure it out in best of 5s. I mean, I think, we were a pretty good example of that in 2020. It's not that we were a bad team in best of 1s, but like, once best of 5s really turned on, we got lower bracket and we just made our run, right? We freaking won outright. So, and one of the greatest runs, I think, in LCS history, personally. But this is the kind of team that I could see sneaking their way in, and they are sneaky, like solid team at times, and they've had a week off. They've had a week to study us and our our series against Evil Geniuses, and that can do a lot for the mental one way or another, truthfully, because they could still have a bad mental after watching us play, I think, a very strong series against Evil Geniuses. But yeah, I think he's going to be crucial for us, and because of that, I have these mixed up, but we'll talk about Insanity first, I guess. Apologies on that, but I think Insanity is going to have to really, really play well this series. I think they're going to target his AD carry picks. I think that he's going to have to really put pressure on Jensen and keep him from being able to do what he does best, which is team fighting, especially in the late game. The man just makes plays, and he's going to pull something out like an Orianna or, I don't know, a Cassiopeia or even a Victor, right? Like he likes those classic picks. I know he's been playing more meta picks recently. Like he can play the AD carries and stuff, but those are his bread and butter. And when it comes down to a series, those are the picks that he's going to gravitate towards because he knows what he can do with them. Even if they're not necessarily super strong, he knows how to get the most out of those picks. And I think it's going to be up to Insanity to really hold him down, to really be able to get some leads and make his way across the map. And also recognize the fact that they're going to anticipate that. Santorin's going to probably be in the mid lane a pretty decent amount to try to put Insanity behind. And he's going to have to make sure that things are warded. He's going to need to have Boogie with him there, potentially Chime, to counter whatever Santorin and Jensen have going on. And, I think he's going to be crucial for us to win. I would bet a lot of money that this will come down to whether or not Insanity can deal enough DPS and be able to make plays at crucial periods in the game. I think he's the X factor for TSM, and similarly to Jensen. I normally, again, I don't love to mirror match on these shows, but I don't think there's anything else that we can do. Yet again, I mean, it's just going to come down to the mid lane for us because I'm not overly confident in Wild Turtle or Hanser. Um, I really liked the Rumble pick. Not initially, but he played it pretty well. He missed a couple, I think, pretty crucial ults where he would go horizontally instead of vertically, or vertically instead of horizontally. And I think that's more just because he was kind of rushing the play instead of, I think, really thinking out where he should put it. And I hope that if Rumble, ends up staying in the meta and he plays it more, that he will have gotten better. Well, I guess just gotten better at using that correctly, because he was able to get leads pretty easily. And if he's able to put Rich back, then us winning solo lanes, I think, can be monumental to us winning the game overall, to winning the series outright, honestly. If especially with picks like the Rumble that can scale relatively well as well. If Rumble's that strong in the meta right now, I think he should be a smash. Pick that stuff as much as you possibly can. I'm cool with them, flexing in Ornn as well, or even if they still feel like the Malphite can be pretty good. I just want to see him have tanky champions and then maybe a Cassante or a Rumble here and there. Other than that, like, his goal needs to be just keep Rich from making plays. Period. Whether that's because he's super far ahead in gold, or because he's playing a champion like an Ornn or a Malphite, right, that can mark whatever Rich is going to do and hopefully be able to stop that. So those are, that's just the solo lanes, I think, is where things are going to happen. I think we'll have an advantage in the bot lane with Wild Turtle and Chime over Tomo and, God, who did they end up switching it out for? It was Diamond. Now it's Poom. That's right, Poom. So, I think that we'll have an advantage there. And I actually think Boogie will be an advantage for us as well. But I think, the game will come down to whether or not our solo laners can either get ahead or can make the plays necessary to keep who I argue are Dignitas' two best players from making those types of plays. So, my official prediction is going to be a 3-1 TSM win. I really do think that we're a much better team than them. Even a 3-0 wouldn't completely surprise me. More so just because I don't think that Dignitas has ever really come together. I think Rich is their only really big playmaker, right? Like somebody who's genuinely willing to make a big play, find a big play. And I think that Hanser has at least shown the ability to track his opponents well. I worry a little bit about them picking like a Jax or a Fiora or something and going split push, and Hanser not being able to match that very well. I do think that that's a weakness of ours, but outside of that, I really do think that we are going to come out, firing on all cylinders and taking our first series in what we need 3, I believe, at this point now, to make top 4 and have a chance at Worlds. So, I really thought that the Evil Geniuses series was. I predicted a 3-2. I even said on here I was considering a 3-1 for Evil Geniuses. I think that we actually probably should have even won that series. I think it was that close, and I think we were a couple big plays away, and I guess also just not panicking. I'm remembering this too. TSM cannot panic, right? If they get behind a little bit, or if a string of plays, 1 or 2 plays doesn't work out, they just need to take a deep breath, recompose themselves, and make a play later in the game. They don't need to press, they don't need to force things, especially against this Dignitas team, man. They do not snowball very well most of the time, again, unless if Rich is really far ahead. I think Tomo still has a chance to be a solid player, but I don't think it's going to be in this series or this year. I think it'll be in a year or two. But I want to see TSM kind of just grab this series and show everybody, hey, we are here to play. Our record and what we did in the Evil Geniuses series is truly who we are, and we're ready to kind of battle for a chance to go to new work and to go to Worlds. So this is where it starts or ends right here. Luckily, I'm not predicting an end. I am predicting the 3-1 victory and us moving on to face either Team Liquid or 100 Thieves. I would imagine it'll end up being Team Liquid unless if they just completely melt. And in that case, then we'll see what happens next week. But yeah, these are my predictions for now, and let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. And like I said, this will not be the last episode of Talking TSM, even if they lose. God, I hope they don't lose. And I'll be able to record a new one for next week, discussing the next series. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And with that, I'll catch you guys on the next one.